Namaste yogis, this is Hannah. I am a Yin Yoga instructor and I'm so glad to be guiding you on your third day of this 20-minute Yin Yoga challenge. So without further ado, let's get started. We're going to start in a easy, gentle child's pose. So transitioning onto your hands and knees. Maybe taking a few cat-cows to warm up here, arching the spine and then drawing the spine in. And then beginning to sit back onto those heels. Pressing your forehead into the mat. Walking those fingertips further up your mat if you can, and that's how you're going to feel a little bit more sensation in the shoulder blades here, in the upper back, even into the hips. You're looking for a deeper stretch into the hips, beginning to widen those hips a little bit, and then resetting yourself up. While staying in this child's pose posture, just taking a different variation, beginning to walk your hands to the right side of your mat, maybe placing your left hand over the right. Again, dropping that forehead into the mat here, just feeling a different variation into the side body here. Beginning to come back to center, resting here for a breath, then walking those hands now to the left side of the body. Bringing that right hand over the left hand, pressing your forehead into the mat once again. Feeling this variation on the side of the body. Maybe taking the time here to set an intention for your practice today. Maybe you're looking in to call in more peace, more positivity. Claim what your intention is right now and let that set the tone for the rest of your practice today. Beginning to come back to center. Resting in your child's pose here for a moment. Walking yourself back up to tabletop. Maybe taking some cat-cow again. If you're wondering why my arms look funny, I am double jointed. So this doesn't hurt, I promise. Alright, coming onto the knees, we're going to begin to sit back into a toe squat. So begin to curl your toes here. So curl those toes under, and all you're going to do is you're going to sit back onto those heels. So keep those toes curled, keeping your gaze forward. If this is too much, you can always bring your hands in front of you, maybe for a little bit more balance. Regardless, you'll still feel that pressure on the back of the toes and the feet. Probably feeling this into the ankles too. We won't hold this posture for too long. It's definitely a more challenging pose, and we don't get in the feet or in the toes too often, so this might feel like a little bit much, but again, stick with it. We're already halfway there. Taking nice, long, deep breaths. Bringing your oxygen into the toes, into the feet. creating some space there for you. We do so much. We walk, we stand, our feet give us so much movement. So just being grateful for the movement that our feet give us and letting our feet get some relaxation here. Just a few more breaths. And beginning to let go. Ooh, feeling that, maybe tapping those feet out. Coming right to the front of our mat, we're going to do a yoga squat. So start by gently using your hands, prop yourself into the squat position. If you have blocks, you might want to put one underneath the butt. And you might want to keep your hands in front of you. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, bringing those hands to heart center and using your elbows to push out those legs. Nice long deep breaths here. Feeling this into the hip, into the groin. Gravity really is doing the work for us in this position. We're already in that posture where, we're forcing our hips to go into the ground. So definitely might feel a little intense here. You're almost there. And getting out of this pose gently, so maybe putting those hands in front of you or in the back might be a little bit easier. Pressing on to your mats, taking some movement here if you need to. We're gonna come into a butterfly pose. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this posture, bringing your feet together to touch. Bringing your legs out as close or as far as you need them to be until you feel that sensation. So while we do this butterfly pose, we're also going to take eagle arms. So you're going to take your right arm and put it over your left. So bring your left arm underneath, right on top. Bring those hands in front of the face and then go ahead and falling over the legs here. So feeling this into our shoulder blades and our back and also into our hips. In Yin Yoga, we focus on targeting our connective tissue. It contains our joints, our ligaments, and our bones. It surrounds our entire body. So getting into those parts of the body is really important, especially in this day and age. We do a lot of yang activity, and I am guilty of it as well. I love to exercise. I love to move my body. I love to, gain strength and endure cardio, vascular movements, but it does take a lot of toll on the body. So it's really good to balance that with the slow movement, of a Yin Yoga practice. Because not only do you maybe exercise, but yang activities are fast moving, like cooking. If you cook a lot, if you go grocery shopping, if you work on a computer and are typing with your hands, very yang style movement. So it's really good and important that we do poses like this. Alrighty, so we're just about halfway there. So keep your butterfly, but we're gonna switch out the hands here. So this time our left arm is gonna go on top of our right. So we're gonna intertwine those hands, bring them in front of the face, falling over the legs here. Noticing if there's any different sensation in the back here as we do the opposite side of eagle arms. And maybe if you're feeling this more in the hips or you're feeling it more in the back, just observing your own body here. almost there. Beginning to come out of your eagle arms posture, out of butterfly pose. Maybe taking some shoulder shrugs. Maybe straightening out the legs if you need to. And then going right into a tabletop position, headed back into a cat-cow movement here. And when you're ready, we're gonna push up into a downward facing dog, pressing into those hands, pressing into those heels. Bring your head towards your belly. Staying still for a moment and then starting to walk out that dog, alternating those heels, feeling how that feels on the back, on the legs, and then bringing your right leg up to the sky, bringing your right leg to your left hand for our pigeon posture. So we're gonna try to square those hips as much as possible, flattening that foot behind you. Bring your right leg to about a 90 degree angle and staying upright here if that feels like enough sensation for you. Maybe bringing a block underneath the hip if it is not touching the ground. If you're looking for more sensation, walking yourself further into the earth. Breathing and easing into this posture, coming onto the forearms, maybe completely coming onto your mat. I would go down on my mat, but it is burning hot right now. Feeling these sensations in our right glute and hip flexor. Focusing on our breath, bringing our oxygen and our attention to those sensations, to those places that feel tight. Welcoming that air, welcoming space here. And on those exhales, letting go of what no longer serves you. Energetically, we do hold stress and emotions in our hip flexors, so if any thoughts arise that don't make sense right now, just observe them and notice and know that it may be coming up because of trauma being stored in our hips. So let the thoughts come, let them go, coming back to this present moment. We are more than halfway there. Noticing if the hips and glutes are starting to open up a bit as you first ease into a posture. It might feel really uncomfortable, but with time and with the breath, your body begins to let go. So notice if that has happened at all. And if it hasn't, focus on that breath again. That is your guiding force during this practice. Your hands were on the mat. Start to bring it back up. Slowly start to ease out the posture. Taking some windshield wipers if that feels good. Coming back to hands and knees. Cat-cow again, massaging that spine, finding that mind-body connection, then pushing up into your downward facing dog. Staying still here for a moment and then starting to walk out that dog. Beginning to bring your left leg up to the sky. Bring that left leg to your right hand. Flattening that right foot behind you. Squaring those hips up, finding that 90-degree angle. Staying upright if that's enough sensation for you. And starting to lean forward if you're looking for a little bit more compression in those hips. Noticing if the left or the right side is tighter or looser. It's very common for one side to be more tight than the other. For me, I think my left side of everything is a lot more tight. Visualizing that oxygen going into the body. Clearing space for you, for something new. New energy, a new state of mind, and letting go and surrendering on those exhales. Yin Yoga is all about surrendering to what is, to change. And learning to surrender is one of life's greatest gifts, as we are not in control of anything besides ourselves, anything outside of us. We surrender and go with the flow. So just like in Yin Yoga, if we don't surrender, what we resist persists, and what we let go of flows. So just remembering that mantra on your mat in everyday life. We have less than a minute to go here. You're on your mat, starting to push yourself up with your hands gently. Coming out of the posture. Maybe some windshield wipers, maybe a shake of the legs. Coming onto your back for a final resting pose, Shavasana. Checking in with the body, noticing how it's feeling, how the mind is feeling. Starting to wiggle the toes and fingers, bringing some life back into the body. And when you're ready, coming back into your seated posture. Taking one last final breath together, arms overhead, big stretch, hands to heart center here, and thanking yourself for this beautiful practice today. From my heart to yours, namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm excited to see you on the next day of the yoga challenge. I hope you feel great and you have a beautiful day.